Hello students, how are you? I believe you all are fine at home. Today I am going to discuss with you subject verb concord. The other name for concord is agreement. So today I am going to discuss with you a very familiar topic, subject verb concord or agreement. Okay children? As we know that on the basis of expression, sentences in English are categorized into four, that is assertive, interrogative, imperative, exclamatory, and on the basis of clauses, our sentences, they are again categorized into three: simple, compound, complex. We write so many sentences, right? We express so many sentences, but to write a flawless sentence, there should be there is a very important concept, that is subject verb. Subject and verb, they should agree with each other. Okay? Now this entire concept of subject verb concord or subject verb agreement, it depends upon the number of subject. That means if we are framing a sentence, our subject and verb, they must agree with one another in number, that is singular and plural. Okay? अगर हम कोई भी सेंटेंस इंग्लिश में लिख रहे हैं तो वो सेंटेंस में हमारा जो सब्जेक्ट है और वर्ब है, उनके बीच का जो एग्रीमेंट है वो डिपेंड करता है सब्जेक्ट के नंबर पे. सब्जेक्ट अगर सिंगुलर है तो वर्ब में, इन मैनी केसेस द वर्ब इज सिंगुलर. इफ द सब्जेक्ट इज प्लूरल, the verb will be plural. It is a simple belief, but it is not so. There are 12 rules which I am going to unfold before you children, and with that 12 rules we are going to discuss and recapitulate this topic, subject verb concord. As I said that subject should always agree and the verb should always agree to the subject on the basis of number, that is singular and plural. So I will begin with rule number 1. Let's see what does rule number 1 states. So our first rule, rule 1 of subject verb concord agreement, it says that if the subject is singular, verb will be singular, and if subject is plural, the verb will be in plural form. Okay? I will begin with an illustration which is of simple present tense. Okay? For example, the pole star shines brightly. Let's take another example. So now children, in both these illustrations, the pole star shines brightly, the earth revolves around the sun. We have used the sentences of simple present tense. Okay children? Here our subject is singular. Okay? And the verb which we have written, it is also singular. Sometimes I have seen this bewilderment in children that they assume shines, which is the singular form of the base form of the verb shine, as plural, but it is not. Children, when we are framing a sentence in simple present tense and if our subject is singular, then what we do? We simply to the base form of the verb we add as and we make it shines. Okay? So here again the verb is in singular form only, and similarly the earth revolves round the sun. again to the base form of the verb. Base form means to the present form or to the first form of the verb we have added s. Okay, and this is how our sentences, the pole star shines brightly or the earth revolves around the sun, they are agreeing to the first condition of rule 1, that the subject is singular, the verb is singular. Do not assume shines as the plural form of the verb. Okay, only to the whenever we are framing, ये एक syntax है, ये एक format है कि जब हम simple present tense में sentence frame कर रहे होते हैं तो हम verb के base form में simply s add कर देते हैं और इस formation को हम बोलते हैं s form of the verb. Okay, second illustration is also of the simple form, that is the earth revolves around the sun. Okay, so children, if anybody was having this bewilderment in mind कि this is plural form of the verb, so it is not, it is the singular form of the verb only. When I am saying if subject is singular, verb will be plural. So here our verbs we will be dealing with the primary auxiliary. हमारी जितनी भी प्राइमरी ऑक्सिलरी वर्ब होती हैं उनके बारे में वी आर रेफरिंग टू दैम इन प्लूरल फॉर्म. ओके, आई विल टेक द सेम एग्जाम्पल्स. The pole star is shining brightly. Now to this simple present tense sentence I have converted into present continuous. Okay, in the first category when I was using it into simple present, मैं कौन सा rule use कर रही थी? The fact. These are the universal facts. Now when I am using them in continuous form, present continuous form, the pole star is shining brightly, I am referring to a contemporary activity at night time. When I am saying the stars are shining brightly, again I am referring to a contemporary activity at night time. Okay, and now look at this, is and are primary auxiliary verbs. Is and are, they both are agreeing with what? With subject, because the pole star here is what? It is a singular subject. The stars here is what, children? It is a plural subject. So our rule 1, what it says, that if subject is singular, verb will be singular. If our subject is plural, the verb will be plural. So this is how our subject and verb must agree with one another when we are using our rule number 1 of subject verb concord or agreement. Let's move on to the next rule. What does rule number 2 says? It says if a phrase or a clause is used between subject and verb, it does not change the number of subject. Okay, so what does our rule number 2 says? कि if a phrase or a clause is used between subject and verb, it does not change the number of the subject. Let's look at the illustration how. Our first illustration is children of a phrase, and here our phrase is prepositional phrase. Of kidney beans. It is what? It is a prepositional phrase. Let's revise. In short, what is a phrase? Phrase basically, children, is a group of words which gives us partial meaning or incomplete meaning. So we can conclude that phrase is one term through which we try to convey an idea. हम किसी आइडिया को प्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं फ्रेज के थ्रू. सो नाउ लेट्स कम बैक टू द रूल. इफ अ फ्रेज or a clause is used between subject and verb, it does not change the number of the subject. So here, of kidney beans is what, children? Prepositional phrase, because it starts with preposition of. Now here our subject is a can. What it is? It's our subject. And what is sits? Sits here is our verb. And look at it. Of kidney beans. This prepositional phrase, beans, has not changed our verb. Okay, our verb is sits, is agreeing to what? It is agreeing to our singular subject, a can. Okay, so this is how our rule number 2 states that if a phrase is used between a subject and a verb, it does not change this prepositional phrase will not change the number of the subject. Let's take an illustration of a clause. So now our second sentence, the woman who went for the meeting were bored. Now children, this sentence is our complex sentence, okay, because we are dealing with clause, and in the starting only I had told that we categorize sentences on the basis of expression in clause. So here I have taken an example of a clause, okay, and this sentence is an illustration of complex sentences where we have a main clause and the subordinate clause. Let's first of all distinguish the main clause as well as the subordinate clause. So this part of the sentence, who went for the meeting, is what? It is our subordinate clause, or we can also say a dependent clause. Whereas the rest part of the sentence, the women were bored, this is our main clause, because it doesn't require this part of the sentence, who went for the meeting. It's still giving the meaning, but because in one sentence only we want to convey two things, so we have used a complex sentence. The women who went for the meeting were bored. Now quickly come back to rule number 2. This is our subordinate clause. Children, what is a clause? Clause is basically that part of a sentence which has a subject and the verb. So here we can see it is having the subject, the main clause, the woman, and the verb also. Similarly here also, who went for the meeting. If we extract this part of the clause from the sentence, it will turn to interrogative form, and then interrogative word who will be the subject and went will be the verb. So the women who went for the meeting were bored here. Again we can see that the verb were, it agrees to the subject woman, and woman here is used in plural form. It is not agreeing to the meeting. Okay, fine children. So this is what rule number 2 states, कि if a phrase or a clause is used between subject and the verb, it doesn't change the number of the subject. आपका जो subject है उसी के according आप अपने verb को use करेंगे. So with this we have revised our rule number 2 also. Let's swiftly move on to rule number 3. When we begin sentences with words like there and here, what is the change in our subject verb agreement or concord? Let's see. If our sentence begins with there or here there is a change. And what is that turning point? Subject is always placed after verb. In the bygone two rules, we have seen that our verb was written first and then our subject was first and then the verb. Here it is vice versa, children. Okay, we will first write the verb and then we will write the subject. Let's begin the sentence with there. For example, now here in both the sentences, children, see, first we have written what? We have written the verb, and after that we have placed our subject. So here it is our subject. There is a problem with the balance sheet, so our subject is singular, so is. Here comes the teacher, again subject is written later. First we have written the verb. Okay, so this is how our rule number 3, what it states, कि if our sentence begin with words like there or here, subject is always placed after the verb. Okay children, so with this rule number 3 also we have revised. Let's revise rule number 4. There is a little similarity between rule number 3 and 4 and what it is of the syntax. That means here again our verb will be placed first and then the subject. Why? Because rule number 4, it states that subject is always, children, it is always, subject is always, adverb of manner, subject is always placed after verb in interrogative sentences. Now for example, children, very simple, what is your name? So here is, where do you live? Again here in both these sentences you can see that our subject is placed after the verb. First we have written the verb, auxiliary verb is, then your, then again do, and then you. So this is how whenever we are framing any interrogative sentences, our syntax will change. First the verb will come and then the subject. So this will be the agreement between the subject and the verb according to rule number 4. Let's move on to rule number 5. It says that verb will be plural. Okay, verb will be plural if two subjects are separated by and. Okay, for example, so here in both these illustrations, children, we can see we have two subjects, gold and silver. Okay, they both are separated by connector and, conjunction and the form of the verb here is plural. Okay, and what it says, our rule also says the same. Okay, हमने यहाँ पे plural form of the verb use किया है, be kind of the verb जो है हमारा are वो use किया है. Gold and silver are precious metal. Similarly, he and I were playing. So here also children you can see that were, I have used were, and were is what? Again plural form. Okay, because our two subjects, they are separated by and. I have deliberately taken this example because I many times sees you children writing I with small alphabet in between, which is grammatically wrong. Okay, so this pronoun I, wherever it is used in your writer, it will always be written in capital. So here and I, he and I were playing. Okay children, so this is how our rule number, this was rule number 5. Okay, verb will be plural if two subjects are separated by and. Again there is one more condition. Sometimes we see that two subjects, they are separated by and, but the verb is. So for that our rule number 6 is applied. Okay, and what is our rule number 6? Our rule number 6, it says children that the verb will be singular if two subjects are separated by and, but they refer to the same person or thing as a whole. Okay, so in that case we will be using the singular form of the verb. Again I am jotting it. Rule number 6, it says verb is singular if two subjects are separated by and, refers to same person or thing as a whole. Okay, so our rule number 6, it says that verb is singular. Verb will always be singular no matter we are using two subjects. Okay, but those two subjects, they are referring to what? In our object side, verb का objective case भी होता है, तो object में they are referring to the same person or thing as a whole. Let's take, I think illustration will clarify it more. Yeah, so these are our illustrations. Honor and glory here children is what? They are our subject, and is what? It is our verb. We are having two subjects, honor and glory. They both are different values. Okay, and we have used the singular verb is. Why? Because they are referring to the same person, his. They are referring to the same person as reward. Okay, so that's why we have used this rule number 6. Red beans and rice. Again they both are different dish. They both are different sort of dish. Red beans and rice. Okay, is my mom's favorite cuisine, favorite dish. So because again these two dishes, they are referring to the same person, so we have used the singular form of the verb, that is E. Singular form of the be kind of verb is. Okay, fine children. So this is how rule number 6 it works. If the verb is singular and the two subjects, they are separated by and, these two subjects, they refer to the same person or thing, then we use the singular form of the verb. Okay, now let's move on to rule number 7. Let's see what does rule number 7